students, today in this module we will be discussing about waste collection. So far in the previous modules we have discussed about waste types and the rate of generation. Then we discussed about the factors which are influencing waste generation and disposal. Now in this module we will be discussing about waste collection. Now waste is any unwanted material which is just thrown off and which is considered of no use. Now what are people doing it? They are continuously generating waste and they are throwing it off without any protection. Now this has created a lot of chaos and it has affected the environment and it is slowly affecting the health of the individual. We have seen a lot of plastic pollution. People are talking about a lot of plastics that has been entering into the ocean and a lot of animals getting affected by the plastics in the marine environment. Now these consequences will keep increasing if we do not have a proper management plan. So to manage your waste you need a proper management plan. Now management plan involves a lot of steps starting from your waste collection. First it is generally the waste generation, then is the waste collection. After the waste is being collected, it has to be transported to a particular place called as a transfer station where you will do minimum processing. You will process the waste which is nothing but your segregation, size reduction, volume reduction and so on. Then the next step comes which is the treatment. You will treat the waste either by the biological conversion route or the physical conversion route. Then after doing all this processing and treatment, the residue which is left out will be disposed of and that too in a safe environment. All these steps form a part of your waste management plan. Now after waste generation, the next major important step is your waste collection. Now in this module we will be focusing about waste collection. Here we will be emphasizing on the storage containers and collection points and collection vehicles. Now this waste collection is considered as one important step in waste management plan. Almost 60 to 70% of the total cost which is involved in the waste management plan is consumed by the waste collection. If the waste collection is done properly, then all other things can be managed properly. So this is one of the vital and essential step in waste management plan. With this introduction, let us look into the learning objectives of this module. The learning objectives of this module would be to understand the concept of waste collection. We will also study in detail about the various components of waste collection system. Then we will discuss about the characteristic of the various storage containers that are generally used in collection. Then we will discuss about the collection vehicles which are used in waste collection. Now as I told you, waste collection is the first step in a waste management process next to waste generation. Now waste collection, how do you define that? It is nothing but the collection or gathering of waste from the source of generation and transfer them to the disposal site or a landfill. Now the waste collection does not just mean gathering of waste alone. It is collection, gathering, collection and then taking it or transporting it into the respective place. Now waste collection is the most complex and the difficult part in a waste management plan and it is more difficult and complex especially in a urban environment. Wherever the waste is more diffuse, then you need more waste collection because the waste generation will be very high. Now as I told you, waste collection is a costly component in the management plan. Around 50 to 70% of the total cost is consumed by the waste management step. If you plan the waste collection properly and manage them, the cost can be reduced to a greater level. But if it is not managed properly, again it will lead to a major increase in the overall cost. Now waste collection is of two types. One is the collection for the commingled waste and the other one is the source separated waste collection. Now as I told you earlier, commingled waste is nothing but the municipal waste which involves a mixture of a lot of waste, like it can have the biodegradable material, it can have paper, it can have plastics, it can have glass, it can have biomedical waste, e-waste and all those things. But on the other hand, if you see source separated waste. Now, source separated waste is nothing but where the segregation is done at the source of generation. At your household level, if you are separating the waste, like you have a separate bin for recyclables, if you have a separate bin for your biodegradables and non-recyclables, then that is called as source separated waste. Now, the waste collection is different for different types of waste and it varies with the characteristic of the facility and location. Now, let us discuss about the components of waste collection. Now, there are many different components. It starts from the collection point, collection frequency, storage containers and collection vehicles, collection crew, collection route, and the last comes your transfer station. These are the different components. We will discuss each one of them in detail. Now, let us start with collection points. Now, what are collection points? Collection points are nothing but places where the source is generally generated. It can be a commercial area, it can be a residential area, it can be an industrial area or an institutional area. Residential means households, commercial means markets, industrial means industries, and institutions means like schools, colleges, universities and so on. Now, these are the different collection points. Now, the collection points generally will determine the size of your crew. Crew is nothing but a group of people who will be involved in collection of waste in a particular region or a particular area or a particular streets or something like that. Okay? So, it determines your size of the crew, it will determine the storage point, the time required for collection as well as the total cost that will be involved. Now, let us discuss about the waste collection containers. Now, right side you can see a waste collection container. This you might have seen in many places. Nowadays, these containers are used more popularly. Waste collection containers play an important role in waste collection system. Their type, size and location generally determine the efficiency of waste collection. The size and type of the containers will generally vary from location to location and from the source of generation. For example, if you talk about a residential colony with a single family household, they require a small container, unlike a commercial or an institutional area which will require a large container. Now, the size of the container will determine the handling of the container too. Small containers can be easily handled manually by the workers, but if you have a larger ones, you need a mechanical handling, I mean machine operated, or you might have seen certain places like the trucks. They come and then they lift, they use a tilt hoist mechanism to transfer the waste from these containers directly into the trucks. Now, let us discuss about the characteristics. Now, what should be the characteristics of a storage container? The size and characteristic of a storage container, they play an essential role in waste collection. Now, a good container will generally save your collection energy, they will increase the speed of collection and also they will reduce the crew size. Now, what are those characteristics? First, obviously you will look into a cheap and economical storage container. So, low cost is the first characteristic. Now, the container, if they are chosen, they should be cheap and economical. This will reduce the cost of collection. The next characteristic is your size and weight. Your containers should not weigh more than 20 kg. This will help you to avoid the occupational health hazards, because a container which is 20 kg would be easy for you to lift it manually. Small single household families can use small size containers which you can unload it manually, but wherever if you have the bigger size, like if it is more than 20 kgs, obviously you need a mechanical lift system. So, it is good that if you choose a container which is not more than 20 kgs. The next characteristic is the containers should not have a rough surface. Now, what will happen if they have a rough surface is like a lot of material tend to get attached, like for example, the waste material which they get easily stuck onto this rough and rugged surface. Now, as a result, what will happen, these waste materials will stick onto them and then they will start decomposing and attract a lot of bacteria and fungi in them. Then slowly decomposition will take place and it will create a lot of smell. Also, when these containers which has a rough surface, it is difficult for you to clean. So, obviously always you should prefer a container which is having a smooth surface. Now, example of a container having a rough surface, you can talk about a wooden material. Okay. The next characteristic is the containers should not have sharp edges. Now, if you remember in our previous module I told you this, when the containers have a sharp edge, they tend to cause occupational hazard. So, if you have a sharp edged container, when a person is lifting the container to unload the waste manually, maybe he can tend to have a cut. Now, when he has a cut, obviously it is more easy for the infectious organism to enter and then affect the person. So, always you ensure that the container should not have a sharp edge. Always the container should be inert. Inert material means it should not react with the waste material. For example, you can talk about iron containers. Now, iron material, since the waste is having a lot of moisture in them, iron containers will start taking up the moisture and then it will oxidize the iron and rusting will take place. So, that is one example. So, always you go for materials or prefer for materials which are inert. Then the container which you choose should be in such a way that it is covered. Now, when you cover the container or when the container is covered, what will happen? It will prevent the entry of rainwater into the waste. Now, once the rainwater entry is prevented, the decomposition will be slow and it will not create any odor. Also, when the rainwater enters into this containers, what will happen? It will increase the weight of the solid waste, which again makes it difficult for it to be transferred or unloaded into the collection vehicles. Then another important reason for having a closed container is that it will also prevent the entry of stray animals into the containers. The next characteristic is the strength and durability. Now, when you choose a container, it should be very strong and durable, because if it is not strong, it will cause frequent breakage. Now, when it is getting frequently broken, what will happen? It will increase the cost. So, the container should be rough enough or robust enough to withstand the rough handling by the crew members during manual and mechanical unloading of waste. Now, strong and durable containers will also last long and they will minimize the cost of collection. Now, the containers should always be provided with wheels. Now, wheels will facilitate for easy transfer of waste or unloading of waste. Sometimes the waste container with wheels can be attached behind these trucks and then it can be taken to the disposal site too. So, it is essential that always it is fitted with a wheel. Now, the containers again should not absorb moisture. As I told you, when it starts absorbing moisture, the bacterial and fungal growth is accelerated. Now, it becomes a favorable environment, so they start growing and the waste decomposition takes place within the container. Now, this will create a lot of foul smell and odor problems, so this should be avoided. Now, examples of containers which absorb moisture is your wooden container, bamboo baskets and all, which should generally be avoided. The container should always be light, smooth, corrosion resistant, inert and recyclable. Containers which generally lack these characteristics should be avoided to avoid unnecessary chaos and to avoid increase in collection cost, and it will also decrease the collection efficiency. There are two types of storage containers. One is your stationary containers and the other one is movable or hauled containers. Now, stationary containers are generally immovable and they are fixed at the storage site. They are generally transferred manually by the collection crew. Now, when you talk about the hauled or movable containers, they will have a fixed wheel which will generally facilitate its movement to the waste processing site or the transfer station. Sometimes they can also be directly carried to the disposal site too. Now, they are generally used for a special type of waste when the waste needs a separate treatment and processing. Now, this figure shows you the different stationary and hauled containers which are used for waste collection. Now, there is a third type of container called as your communal containers. Now, these are not found in recent time, but earlier times like maybe 30 to 40 years before, these containers were used. Now, this is generally called as a public container. It is a conventional type of container which is used almost 30 to 40 years before. Now, these communal containers are generally fixed in public places like parks, residential colonies, shopping streets, office buildings and institutions and so on. Now, they are stationary, that means they are fixed onto the ground and they are immovable. Now, In India, these are generally cemented structures and used in public to dump their waste. Now, they are generally open and they create a lot of problem during the rain. If this is one example of a communal container. Now, the location of the container depends on a lot of factors. One is the width and the length of the lane or road. Also, it depends on the ease of collection vehicle to reach the containers. It also depends on the amount of waste generation and the type of waste from where it is generated. For example, commercial, residential, institutional, etc. Now, traffic congestion again determines your location of storage containers. Example, if you see in a narrow road, the collection containers can be placed equidistantly at a distance of 100 meters. The containers can be placed alternatively on either side of the lane. For example, on one side the distance between two collection vehicles can be 200 meters, while on the other side you can maintain a distance of 100 meters. In case of narrow streets with low traffic congestion, the containers can be placed at a longer distance. Now, a resident will fail to walk 50 meters to dispose of the waste into the container. So, you have to keep that in mind also. Now, the major disadvantage of placing the containers at short distance would be this will increase your fuel consumption of the collection vehicle. Now, stoppage at every 50 meters will increase the fuel consumption of the vehicle and it will increase the overall cost also. So, it is always better to place the collection container at the end of the street to minimize the collection and the transportation cost. Now, this figure you can see how the storage containers are placed at a distance of 100 meter, 200 meter, 50 meter and so on. Now, in the previous section we discussed about what is waste collection, the concept of waste collection. We discussed about the different components of waste collection, starting from your collection point, collection frequency, collection crew, then storage containers, collection vehicles, collection routing and all. Then we started discussing in detail about the collection points and we also discussed about the storage containers. Now, in the storage containers we also discussed like what are the types of storage containers, what are the characteristics you will look into while selecting a storage container. Now, in this section we will be discussing about the waste collection vehicles. Now, collection vehicles are also very important in a management plan. The collection vehicles are of different types and they can be classified based on their size and compaction. If you see, there are three types of collection vehicles. One is your small scale or muscle powered collection vehicles. Second is your non-compacted trucks and the third one is your compacted trucks. Now, the selection of a collection vehicle generally depends upon the nature and density of waste. It also depends on the location of the area or the terrain, like your hilly terrain or plains and so on. It also depends upon the density of population, strength and capability of a collection crew. Now, this figure shows the collection vehicle which are used in ancient time. You can see a horse cart which is fixed with a unit like for collecting the waste from different areas. The small and muscle powered collection vehicles are commonly used in rural and hilly terrains. Now, these vehicles are nothing but like rickshaws, bullock carts and tricycles which are used for collecting the waste manually. And these vehicles are comparatively of low cost and they are easy to construct and maintain. These vehicles are used in areas where the density of population is high or in places which has narrow streets where comparatively the waste generation is less. Now, the disadvantage of this type of vehicle is like it has a restricted travel range and they are exposed to weather conditions which will influence the human or animals who are driving these vehicles. Now, this figure shows what are the different types of small or muscle powered vehicles. You can see the tricycles and muscle powered vehicles, you can see bullock carts. These are the different small and muscle powered vehicles. The second type of collection vehicle is your non-compacted trucks and these trucks are known to be more efficient and affordable. Now, these vehicles are generally utilized in small cities and used for dense waste. Dense waste means wherever the potential for compaction or densification is less, there these types of trucks can be used. Now, these trucks generally have a capacity of 10 to 12 meter cube and are generally used to cover small distances which are less than 15 meters. Now, the non-compacted trucks are usually covered, which will avoid the flying of waste and entry of rain into the waste. Now, the trucks are preferred when the labor cost is high. Similar to muscle powered vehicles, the non-compacted trucks are also operated by a single person. Now, this image shows the example of a non-compacted truck. The third type of vehicle is your compacted trucks. Now, these vehicles are provided with a compaction system, which is generally used to hydraulically compact the waste. Compaction means it is just pressing. Okay? So, compaction will generally increase the capacity of these trucks by 2 to 2.5 times. Now, the capacity of these vehicles will range between 12 to 15 meter cube. The compacted trucks are suitable for narrow roads, and they are also used in places where these small collection vehicles like the tricycle and bullock carts can discharge the waste into the compacted trucks, and that compacted trucks can further take it to the processing site or the disposal site. Now, the vehicles are generally provided, the compacted trucks are generally provided with a lifting mechanism, so that the waste can be directly discharged from the container into the trucks. Now, the emptying of these containers can be done from the rear, front or sides of the vehicles. Now, these trucks can carry the waste directly from the source of generation till the processing site or the disposal site. Now, what are the advantages of this compacted trucks? Now, the advantages of these compacted trucks will be they are of large size. They are of higher capacity, they can carry more waste, and generally they are covered, and they are safe for handlers, because you have a lifting mechanism so that the waste containers are carried and then unloaded directly. You do not involve any workers. I mean, the exposure to workers is very limited. So, it will avoid a lot of diseases and contamination. Now, the compacted trucks cannot be used for waste that are dense, wet, gritty, dusty and abrasive, because this will affect your the RAM which is present in the compacted trucks. Now, there are also certain specialized collection vehicles which are used for collecting the waste. Now, these specialized vehicles are generally used for collection of source separated waste. Some of the examples are closed body recycling trucks, recycling trailers, modified flatbed trucks, open bin recycling trucks and compartmentalized trucks. In developed countries, large waste storage containers are located outdoors or in the basement for collection of recyclables. Now, the recyclables are further transported to the processing site through certain specialized collection vehicles. Now, the first one is your standard packer trucks. Now, it is a specialized collection vehicle which is generally used for the collection of recyclables. Now, vehicles with rear loading have been used for newspaper, cardboards and magazine collection, and special trailers will be attached to the rear loading packers and used for can and glass collection. While collecting glass and cans, compacting mechanism is generally not used because they can be recycled. So, generally compacting mechanism are avoided in glass and can, unlike your paper and magazines and newspapers and all those things. Now, compacting mechanism, if you use it for glass, it is very highly abrasive and it will affect your or it will damage your packer plate. One more thing is, like when the glass gets broken, then it is difficult for you to sort the waste and even it will lose its recyclable quality. Similar to rear loading, you can also have front end loaders for newspapers, glass and cans from the apartment buildings. The next type is your closed body recycling trucks, where these trucks consists of an enclosed steel body installed on a lowered truck chassis, low entry walk-in cab fitted with left and right driving control. Now, body of these trucks are provided with adjustable hinged dividers to create 2 to 4 compartments. Now, the overall capacity of these trucks ranges from 24.6 to 28 meter cube. Now, these trucks again can be loaded manually by opening one or both sides of the compartment, or mechanically with a front mounted telescopic hoist. Now, the next type of container system is a mobile container system, which consists of a steel frame with a set of hydraulic fork used to transport large winds of waste. Now, around 3 to 6 winds can be transported by this system. Now, the waste is loaded into the system by lowering the forklifts to the ground, through which the bins are lifted over and it will glide into a channel on the underside of the bins. Now, the empty bins are hydraulically raised and secured to the trailer frame and it is replaced back into the original position. The next type is your modified flatbed trucks. Now, the standard flatbed trucks are used for the curbside collection. In these types of vehicles, you have a hydraulic dumping box which is fitted on the top of the truck bed. Now, these dumping boxes generally have 3 to 4 compartments with a standard volume of around 14.7 meter cube. The next type is your open bin recycling trucks. Here you have 2 to 3 self dumping bin with exposed top. The waste is emptied mechanically into the bins through low mounted troughs, and the capacity is generally around 5.4 to 7.3 meter cube, and this is for the front bins, and for the back bins it is 9.1 to 11 meter cube. The waste from the back bins are discharged from the rear side of the vehicle. Now, to summarize, at the end of this module we have studied about the concept of waste collection. We have discussed what are the different waste collection components, starting from your collection points, collection frequency, collection crew, storage containers, collection vehicles, then transfer stations and so on. We also discussed about the collection points and what are the different collection points like the residential point, institutional point, commercial point and so on. Then we discussed about the collection containers, where we discussed about the characteristics which you will look into in a collection container. Then we discussed about the different types of collection containers and where will you locate these collection containers. Then we discussed about the different types of waste collection vehicles which are used for collecting the waste, both your commingled waste as well as your source separated waste. We discussed about their characteristics, their types and the advantages and disadvantages which are associated with them. I hope this module would be of help to you. Thank you.